Have you ever looked at the world around you and felt that something was not quite right? Have you ever questioned the stories we are told in history books or the scientific explanations that seem to leave out important pieces of the puzzle? This feeling is more common than you might think. Some people believe that the reality we experience every day is a carefully constructed illusion. They suggest that what we learn about our past, our origins, and even our own potential has been shaped by powerful, hidden groups. The goal of this grand deception, they say, is to keep humanity in a state of confusion and control, unaware of our true power and history. It is an idea that challenges everything we think we know. This concept suggests that our history is not a straight line of progress from ancient civilizations to the modern world. Instead, it might be a story that has been edited, with entire chapters torn out. Imagine a library where the most important books have been hidden away, leaving us with only simple stories that serve a specific purpose. This theory proposes that powerful elites have been the librarians of our history, deciding what we are allowed to read and what must remain forgotten. They may have done this to guide society in a direction that benefits them, ensuring that their power remains unchallenged and that the general population remains easy to manage and direct. The world we see, the cities we live in, the technology we use, the governments we obey, might be built upon a foundation of forgotten truths. Think about the magnificent old buildings found in cities all over the world. Structures that seem far too grand and complex for the time they were supposedly built. Consider the gaps in our historical records or the ancient technologies that science struggles to explain. These anomalies could be clues, small cracks in the wall of the reality that has been presented to us. They hint at a much richer, more advanced, and perhaps more spiritually aware past than we are ever taught in school. Exploring this idea is not about rejecting everything we know out of hand. It is about asking questions and being open to possibilities that lie outside the mainstream narrative. It is about looking at the world with fresh eyes and wondering if the stories we have been told are the whole truth. Could there be a hidden history, a lost golden age, or suppressed technologies that could change everything we understand about ourselves and our place in the universe? This journey requires us to be brave, to question authority, and to consider that the greatest secrets are often hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to finally see them. If our history has been deliberately changed, then who are the architects of this deception? The theory points toward a small, coordinated group of people, often referred to as a global elite or cabal. These are not leaders we elect or see on the news every day. Instead, they are thought to operate from the shadows, influencing governments, financial systems, and educational institutions from behind the scenes. They are members of secret societies and powerful families who have passed down their agendas through generations. Their primary goal is said to be maintaining control over the world's resources, wealth, and most importantly, its population. These unseen architects work by controlling the flow of information. They decide what becomes common knowledge and what is dismissed as fantasy or conspiracy theory. By influencing universities, publishing houses, and media outlets, they can promote a version of history that serves their interests. A history filled with wars, competition, and scarcity makes people feel powerless and dependent. It teaches us that humanity has always been divided and struggling, making the current systems of control seem natural and necessary. Any evidence of a more harmonious or advanced past would threaten this narrative and inspire people to imagine a different kind of future. The methods of these hidden groups are subtle but effective. They do not need to burn every book or silence every voice. Instead, they can guide the conversation. They fund the scientific research that supports their worldview and ignore or ridicule findings that challenge it. They elevate historians who tell the approved story and marginalize those who dig too deep. Over time, this creates a strong consensus, an official reality that is very difficult to question. People who do challenge it are often labeled as eccentrics or troublemakers. Their ideas pushed to the fringes of society where they can be safely ignored by the majority. This idea is not new. Throughout history, there have been whispers of secret groups guiding the course of human events, from the Knights Templar to the Illuminati. While many dismiss these as myths, proponents of the Grand Deception theory see them as real forces shaping our world. They believe these groups have a deep understanding of human psychology and use it to keep us distracted and divided. By keeping us focused on daily survival and entertainment, they prevent us from asking the bigger questions about who we are and where we came from. The result is a population that polices itself, accepting the manufactured reality as the only one that exists. One of the most compelling theories about our hidden past is the story of the great Tartarian Empire. According to this idea, Tartaria was not just a country in Asia, as old maps might suggest, but a vast, worldwide civilization. This was a civilization of incredible advancement, known for its stunning architecture, its mastery of the environment, and its use of clean, free energy. Believers in this theory point to the beautiful, ornate buildings found on every continent, from grand city halls and post offices in America to intricate cathedrals in Europe and temples in Asia, as evidence of this lost, unified culture. These buildings all share a similar, sophisticated style that seems out of place with the official history of their construction. The Tartarian civilization was supposedly powered by technology that harvested atmospheric energy. Imagine a world without power lines or fossil fuels, where massive domed buildings with elegant spires and antennas drew electricity directly from the air. This free and abundant energy would have allowed for a society without scarcity, a world where people could focus on art, science and spiritual development instead of endless labor. This vision of the past is in direct contrast to the one we are taught, which is filled with toil, poverty and slow incremental progress. The existence of such a civilization would prove that a much better way of life is possible. So, what happened to Tartaria? The theory suggests that this advanced civilization was deliberately wiped from the historical record. Its cities were destroyed or repurposed, its people were scattered, and its history was systematically erased by the same elite groups seeking to control the world. The name Tartaria was removed from maps, and the history books were rewritten to describe a world of separate competing nations that slowly developed over time. The magnificent Tartarian buildings that remained were given new histories, attributed to local architects in the 19th century who supposedly built these massive stone structures with nothing more than horses and carts. The evidence for Tartaria, proponents say, is all around us, hidden in plain sight. It is in the old photographs that show pristine, mud-covered cities with no people, as if they were found abandoned. It is in the architecture that defies modern engineering capabilities, and in the recurring symbols and patterns found in ancient structures worldwide. By erasing Tartaria, the controllers of our world not only hid a powerful truth about our past, but also suppressed the knowledge of free energy and a more harmonious way of living. They replaced a story of unity and abundance with one of division and lack, making it easier to control humanity. How could a worldwide civilization like Tartaria be completely erased? According to the theory, it was accomplished through a cataclysmic event known as the mud flood. This was not a normal flood of water, but a mysterious event where a massive amount of mud, silt and earth flowed across the continents, burying cities and landscapes. This event is proposed as the Great Reset that wiped the slate clean, allowing a new history to be written upon the ruins of the old one. The evidence for this mud flood, believers say, can be seen in cities all over the world. It is a physical clue that our history is not what it seems. Look closely at many old buildings, especially those built before the 20th century. You might notice that their ground floors seem to be partially buried. Windows and doors are often seen sticking out of the ground, leading to basements that look like they were once the main entrance. The official explanation is that cities sink over time, or that these are just cellars. But the mud flood theory offers a more dramatic explanation. These buildings were not built with their lower levels underground. Instead, they are the surviving structures of a previous era, and what we call the ground floor is actually the second or third story. The original street level is buried deep beneath our feet. After the mud flood, the world was a desolate landscape of half-buried cities. This is where another piece of the puzzle comes in, the orphan trains. Officially, these trains transported orphaned children from crowded eastern cities in the United States to foster homes in the West during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The theory, however, suggests a different story. These children were not necessarily orphans in the traditional sense. They may have been the survivors of the mud flood, rounded up and redistributed to populate the newly cleared cities. They were given new names and new identities with no memory of their parents or the world that came before. This process of repopulation and re-education was a crucial part of the historical reset. By taking control of the children, the architects of the new world could ensure that the memory of the previous civilization would die out. A new generation would grow up knowing only the history they were taught, a history that conveniently left out any mention of Tartaria, free energy, or the cataclysm that destroyed it. The buried buildings became a silent testament to the past, their true nature hidden by a new layer of earth and a new layer of lies. The mud flood was the ultimate tool of control, allowing a small group to erase the past and build their new world on top of it. At the very bottom of our world lies a vast frozen continent, Antarctica. We are told it is a desolate wasteland of ice and snow reserved for scientific research, but what if it is much more than that? Many researchers in the alternative history community believe Antarctica is a place of profound secrets, a forbidden zone guarded by the world's most powerful nations. The Antarctic Treaty of 1959, signed by numerous countries, demilitarized the continent and dedicated it to science. However, some see this treaty not as an act of peace, but as an agreement to keep the public out and to control whatever secrets are hidden beneath the ice. What could be so important that it requires such a high level of secrecy? One popular theory is that Antarctica is not a barren continent, but the location of a lost land, perhaps the legendary Atlantis. It is suggested that a sudden shift of the Earth's crust in the distant past moved this once temperate land to the South Pole, flash freezing it and preserving the ruins of an ancient, highly advanced civilization under miles of ice. Modern technology like ground-penetrating radar has revealed vast mountain ranges and huge lakes under the ice sheet. Could these scans also be hiding the outlines of buried cities, pyramids, and other structures? Another intriguing idea is that Antarctica is home to something more modern, but just as secret. Rumors have long circulated about a secret Nazi base known as Base 211 or New Swabia, established there during World War II. According to these stories, the Nazis discovered ancient technology or even a gateway to an inner world, and some of them escaped there at the end of the war. While this sounds like fiction, high-ranking officials, including US Admiral Richard E. Byrd, led a massive military expedition to Antarctica in 1946 called Operation High Jump. The mission ended abruptly, with Byrd reportedly speaking of unidentified flying objects that could move at incredible speeds. Controlling the secrets of Antarctica is, vital for maintaining the established narrative of our world. If ancient ruins were discovered there, it would shatter our understanding of human history and geography. If advanced technology, either ancient or extraterrestrial, were found, it would upend our entire scientific and social structure. By making the continent off-limits to independent exploration and controlling the information that comes out of it, the global elite can protect their monopoly on power and knowledge. Antarctica remains the biggest mystery on our map, a white space that may hold the key to our true past and a future we are not being allowed to see. Beyond the theories of lost continents and buried cities are legends of hidden realms, mystical places that exist just outside our perception. Stories of these worlds, like Shambhala or Agartha, are found in cultures all over the globe. Shambhala, in Tibetan Buddhist tradition, is a hidden kingdom of enlightened beings who work to guide humanity's evolution. Agartha is often described as a vast underground civilization, a world of peace and advanced wisdom located deep within the earth. These are not just fairy tales. For many, They are symbolic representations of a deeper reality and a higher state of consciousness that humans can achieve. These legends may be more than just metaphors. Some believe they could be based on real places and real beings. The idea of an inner Earth or a hollow Earth has been a recurring theme in myths and esoteric teachings. It suggests that our planet is not a solid ball of rock and magma, but contains vast habitable spaces within its crust. These inner realms are said to be home to highly evolved societies that chose to withdraw from the surface world long ago, preserving ancient knowledge and wisdom through ages of turmoil. They exist in a different vibrational state, which is why they remain hidden from our senses and our technology. The stories of these hidden worlds almost always carry a profound spiritual message. They speak of a time when humanity lived in harmony with nature and with itself, possessing abilities that we would now consider supernatural. Beings from Shambhala or Agartha are often described as masters of the mind, capable of telepathy, healing, and manipulating energy. These legends serve as a reminder of humanity's lost potential. They suggest that our true purpose is not just to work, consume, and die, but to embark on a spiritual journey of self-discovery to awaken these dormant powers within ourselves. Why are these powerful ideas so often dismissed as fantasy? The architects of our controlled reality have a strong interest in keeping us spiritually asleep. By labeling these concepts as myth or fiction, they discourage us from exploring our own inner worlds. A population that is spiritually aware is difficult to control. People who understand their own inner power are less likely to be manipulated by fear or material desire. The legends of Shambhala and Middle-earth are like treasure maps pointing toward our own soul. They are dismissed as fantasy to ensure that we never start the journey and never find the treasure that lies within. The idea of a single mudflood event is part of a much larger concept that human history moves in cycles of creation and destruction. This is not the slow, steady progress we are taught in school, but a series of dramatic resets. These cataclysms, whether they are natural disasters or deliberately engineered events, serve to wipe the slate clean. They destroy civilizations, bury evidence of the past, and reduce the surviving population to a state of basic survival. This cyclical pattern of destruction and rebirth is a powerful tool for any group seeking to establish long-term control over humanity. Each time a reset occurs, an opportunity arises for a new narrative to be written. The survivors, often scattered and traumatized, have lost their connection to the culture and knowledge of the world that came before. In this vacuum, a small, organized group can step in and present themselves as saviors. They can provide order, security, and most importantly, a new history. This new history will be designed to legitimize their rule and to shape the consciousness of the new society. The achievements of the previous civilization are either erased or claimed by the new rulers, who present themselves as the source of all progress and wisdom. This cycle explains many of the mysteries in our historical record. It explains why ancient civilizations like the Egyptians or the Sumerians seem to appear out of nowhere with advanced knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, and architecture. Perhaps they were not starting from scratch, but were rebuilding with fragments of knowledge inherited from a pre-reset world. It also explains why so many cultures around the world share similar myths of a great flood, a golden age, and gods who came from the sky. These could be the distorted memories of the last cycle, passed down through generations as legends and myths. Understanding this cycle of resets is crucial because it suggests that we may be living in the aftermath of one such event, or perhaps approaching the next one. The control systems in place today, the financial institutions, the educational systems, the media narratives, could all be part of the structure built after the last reset. By keeping us unaware of these cycles, the controllers ensure that we do not see the pattern. We are encouraged to believe that our current civilization is the pinnacle of human achievement, a stable and permanent reality. This belief prevents us from preparing for radical change and from reclaiming the lost knowledge of past cycles. The grand deception is maintained through a sophisticated and multi-layered system of control. The most powerful method is the rewriting of history. As we have seen, by controlling what is taught in schools and presented in museums, the elite can shape our entire understanding of who we are. They create a story of humanity as a weak, flawed and violent species constantly at war with itself. This narrative makes us accept control and hierarchy as necessary for survival. It hides our true heritage as potentially advanced, unified and powerful beings, ensuring we never strive to reclaim that legacy. A second key method is the control and suppression of information in the present day. This is achieved through ownership of major media corporations, which allows a few powerful voices to set the agenda for what is considered important news. Information that challenges the official narrative is either ignored, ridiculed, or censored. The rise of the internet has threatened this control, but new tools have been developed to manage it, such as algorithms that promote mainstream sources and shadow ban alternative viewpoints. By labeling inconvenient truths as misinformation or conspiracy theories, they use social pressure to keep people from exploring forbidden knowledge. The suppression of technology, particularly in the realm of energy, is another critical pillar of control. The story of Tartaria suggests the existence of free, clean energy harvested from the atmosphere. If such technology were to be rediscovered and released to the public, it would completely transform our world. It would end the dependence on fossil fuels, which are a major source of wealth and power for the elite. It would eliminate poverty and scarcity overnight, creating a world of abundance for all. By classifying such technologies as impossible or hiding them behind national security laws, they maintain a system based on scarcity and economic slavery. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, is the suppression of spiritual knowledge. The elite understand that true power is not political or economic, but spiritual. A person who is connected to their higher self, who understands the power of their own consciousness, cannot be easily controlled. Therefore, mainstream culture is designed to be a spiritual desert. It promotes materialism, distraction, and a purely physical view of existence. Religions are often institutionalized and controlled, their mystical cores stripped away to leave only dogma and ritual. By cutting us off from our spiritual roots, they ensure we remain lost, looking for answers outside ourselves instead of within. We stand at a crossroads in human history. The information we have explored, from the lost empire of Tartaria to the secrets of Antarctica and the cycle of resets, paints a picture of a world far different from the one we are taught. It suggests that humanity's true past has been stolen from us, and with it, our understanding of our true potential has been deliberately limited. This grand deception, orchestrated by a powerful few, has kept us in a state of amnesia, living in a carefully constructed reality designed for control. But the walls of this prison of the mind are beginning to crack as more people start to question the official story. The journey to uncover these hidden truths is not just an intellectual exercise. It is an act of personal and collective liberation. It requires us to become detectives of our own reality, to look for clues in plain sight, to question every assumption, and to trust our own intuition. When we see a building that seems impossibly old, or hear a myth that resonates with deep truth, we can choose to dismiss it as we have been taught, or we can choose to see it as a piece of a larger puzzle. Reclaiming our history is the first step toward reclaiming our power. The ultimate goal of this control system is to keep us from realizing our own spiritual sovereignty. The legends of Shambhala, the promise of free energy, and the memory of a golden age all point to the same truth. We are immensely powerful creative beings. We have the ability to shape our reality, to heal ourselves and our planet, and to create a world based on harmony, abundance, and freedom. This is the knowledge that has been suppressed above all else. It is the secret that the elite fear the most, because a humanity that awakens to its true nature can no longer be enslaved. The path forward is one of awareness and courage. We must seek out hidden knowledge, share what we find, and connect with others who are on the same journey. By piecing together the fragments of our lost past, we can begin to envision a different future. The grand deception can only be maintained as long as we choose to believe in it. By withdrawing our consent and our belief from the false narrative, we can begin to build a new one. Humanity's true history is far grander than we can imagine, and our future is a blank page waiting to be written. The time to pick up the pen is now.